Yo, what's good, everybody? I'm RHicky28. Welcome to the YouTube channel. It's Sunday, so we're talking about the roster update that's coming up. It should be in about 2 weeks, unless, of course, SDS changes something. They did that the last roster update, so we'll have to see. Unfortunately, it didn't end up being the defensive roster update this past Friday, so it should be coming. It's going to be the biggest roster update of the year, and we're going to be talking about a whole lot of defense here, and I'm not touching on any offensive performances. If you like this sort of content, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. Let's jump right into it. The first potential gold to diamond that we're going to be talking about today is ALEJANDRO KIRK. He's been the best catcher in the American League, in my opinion, so far this season. His defensive attributes have been absolutely horrible in this game. 57 fielding, 63 reaction. ALEJANDRO KIRK is second in defensive runs saved among catchers this year. He's top 5 to 10 in almost every advanced defensive category for catchers. If we see a boost to his fielding and reaction, then ALEJANDRO KIRK could be real close to that diamond level, especially if we also see an increase to his power. He's been hitting for a lot more power recently. ALEJANDRO KIRK is a big favorite of mine to get the bump to go diamond. The next possible new diamond is gonna be RENFROE. He's been a defensive wizard this year. First in defensive run saves among right fielders, second in ultimate zone rating among right fielders, a 74 fielding, 78 reaction. Well, UZR is good for reaction. He should get a solid bump there. With 11 defensive runs saved and RENFROE sitting there at the top at #1 among right fielders, that 74 fielding is incredibly underrated. Those bumps to his defense should be enough to get him the extra 2 points of overall to get to diamond. Putting defense aside for now, Liam Hendriks has been one of the best relief pitchers in baseball over the past month and a half. He's given up 0 hits in his last 9 games and only walked 1 batter. In his last 12 games, he's only given up 1 hit and 3 walks in all that time. Among those 12 games, he's got 17 strikeouts, which is good for a 12.75 Ks per 9. All we need to see is 1 extra point of overall, and Liam Hendriks is a brand new diamond. All he's gonna need is a slight increase to hits per 9, Ks per 9, or walks per 9. And realistically, he should get a bump in all 3. Speaking of the hottest pitchers in baseball, JAVIER, who had an amazing 3-week stretch right before the last roster update. 22 innings pitched, 3.97 hits per 9, 2.78 walks per 9, and 17.47 Ks per 9. If he doesn't give up a lot of hits, if he continues to not walk too many batters, and he continues striking out batters at a 17.47 strikeouts per 9, SDS is not going to have a choice. They're going to have to give him the increases that he deserves. As long as we see a decrease in JAVIER's walks per 9 and the continued high strikeout numbers, then I don't see how JAVIER stays as a gold. He's gonna be bumped up to diamond. Tony Gonsolin's another guy that needs to see some sort of increase. He deserves to see some sort of increase to his Ks per 9 and his walks per 9. In the last 3 weeks, he's only got 1.07 walks per 9. He's only got 2.31 walks per 9 on the entire season. So 63 is undervaluing what Tony Gonsolin has done by a large amount. His strikeouts per 9 only 7.82 over the past 3 weeks. That's not bad. It's certainly better than a 61 in the game. If he increases that number, it should be a lock for Tony Gonsolin to get to diamond. Julio Rodriguez is another guy that's getting a ton of hype right now. Yes, he's been an incredible hitter this year, but we're talking about his 64 fielding, his 63 reaction. His defensive stats are really not great compared to what he's actually been doing in real life. 63 reaction, even with a slightly below average ultimate zone rating, he should get a little bit of a bump up. Maybe not, maybe they leave it there, but his fielding will definitely go up 2 defensive runs saved and 6 outs above average is really good numbers, especially for a center fielder, because he's a center fielder and defense matters more for a position like that. Julio Rodriguez should be able to get an extra +2 boost, especially if he continues hitting well against right-handed pitching. We spoke about Xander Bogaerts and his defense last week. I told you be careful, he's risky because he was going to get a bump down, and he did get the bump down because they didn't do the defensive update. Well, his defensive numbers are pretty horrendous in this game. 61 fielding, 62 reaction. Xander is top 10 in ultimate zone rating amongst shortstops. He also has 2 defensive runs saved and 1 out above average. The defensive runs saved and the outs above average aren't exactly in the top echelon amongst shortstops. We don't need to see Xander as one of the top shortstops in the entire league. What he needs is just a little bit of a bump to his fielding. His defense isn't good enough to get him to diamond, but with the way that quick sell prices work this year, Xander Bogaerts could net you a solid profit. Corey Seager's another guy whose defense won't exactly get him to diamond. He hasn't been a top 5 defender or anything like that, but he is top 12 in defensive runs saved, ultimate zone rating, and outs above average. Those are the 3 stats that SDS really focuses on when they're looking at the defensive upgrades. Top 12 is still a lot better than a 63 fielding rating and a 66 reaction rating, especially for a shortstop. We really should see some sort of increase to Corey Seager, and he could see himself get bumped up the same way that Xander does to like the mid gold level, and that could still net you a lot of stubs. I told myself I wouldn't really talk about first baseman because defense doesn't matter so much on a first baseman's card. However, Christian Walker's stats among his first base peers are absolutely blowing them out of the water. He's number 1 in defensive runs saved, number 1 in ultimate zone rating, and number 1 in outs above average. He's got nearly double number 2's defensive run saves and nearly triple number 2's outs above average. His defense is already pretty solid in the game. He's at 77 fielding and 81 reaction. With such strong numbers and being so far and above the other first baseman in the league, I can really honestly see Christian Walker getting a solid increase to his defense. It might really bump him up to like that mid gold level. On to the silvers. I talked about him last week. Brendan Rodgers is one of my favorite possibilities at a defensive upgrade. He's second amongst second basemen in defensive runs saved with 10. He's second in ultimate zone rating. His defense is very bad in this game. 59 fielding, 62 reaction. He should see a massive increase to both of those numbers. If his hitting stays the same and his defense goes up that much, I really think it's realistic for a 5-point increase to Brendan Rodgers' overall. I know that's a big jump, but that defense is going to make that much of a difference. I can realistically see Brendan Rodgers going gold. He was a gold last year as a result of having such high defense, so I can see the same exact thing happening to him again this year. Gleyber's a really fun one to talk about. We said the 60s in defense was bad. Well, Gleyber is in the 40s. 42 fielding, 42 reaction. This year, Gleyber has improved tremendously as a fielder amongst second basemen. He's top 5 in defensive runs saved, and then he's top 12 in ultimate zone rating. We should see a big time increase with his fielding and his reaction. Much like Brendan Rodgers, I can see Gleyber getting at least that 5-point bump up to gold. The funny thing about Gleyber is that his hitting stats are almost identical to Brendan Rodgers, but the difference in their defense is going to be so drastic that I can see the possibility of Gleyber becoming a mid-gold as a result. result of this. Miguel Rojas, we talked about him on the last video. Defensive stats are already pretty good, pretty high up there. He is top 5 in defensive runs saved. He's 3rd in ultimate zone rating, and he's among the top 10 in outs above average. He's only got 74 fielding and 79 reaction. He's definitely going to get some sort of defensive bump up. We're just hoping that it's enough that it could get him to that gold level. He's also been hitting really well, so that's going to help, and that's going to take into effect as well. I'm feeling pretty good about a defensive increase for Miguel Rojas. We should see that gold bump. Back to some pitchers real quick. Jameson Taillon, 8.22 Ks per 9 in the past 3 weeks. That's much better than his 49 rating in this game. If we can see a solid bump to his Ks per 9 and the rest of his stats all stay the same, well, you're gonna see a brand new gold. The only slight issue is that he's got 11.74 hits per 9 in that same time period. So he's got to get that under control a little bit. 64 is still almost indicative of that number. If he could do a little better on the hits per 9 and continue at the pace he's at with the strikeouts per 9, then Jameson Taillon should go gold. We're going to talk about Syndergaard real quick. Syndergaard over the past 3 weeks has 10.13 Ks per 9. He's only got a 47 rating in the game. He only needs a +2 bump to get to gold. Well, if he continues striking out batters at an over 10 Ks per 9 clip, then we should see an increase to his Ks per 9. So Syndergaard is on my radar for guys that should go gold. Back to defense, Amed Rosario, another guy that we're talking about that isn't going to blow the doors off defensively. With such bad attributes in this game, he is due for some sort of increase. Top 12 in defensive runs saved and top 12 in ultimate zone rating among shortstops. 63 fielding and 61 reaction is not really fair for a guy that's in the top 12 of both of those categories. I can really see Rosario getting a solid boost. Again, only needs 2 points to go gold. Jose Trevino is a guy that I wanted to talk about. He's a little bit of a long shot, but I would have been upset if I didn't mention him. He's far and away been the best defensive catcher of the year. It's not even close. His fielding stats are already pretty insane. 83 fielding, 86 reaction, but it's similar to Christian Walker. I wanted to talk about him because he has been so far above the rest of the catchers in baseball. He has 14 defensive runs saved. Remember we talked about Alejandro Kirk being second among catchers in defensive runs saved? Well, Trevino is number 1, and he's got double the amount that Alejandro Kirk has. Trevino is number 1 in just about every other advanced defensive metric for catchers. It's sort of a long shot, but Trevino only needs 2 points of overall to get to gold, and I feel like he's in line for some sort of increase to his fielding and reaction. I'm not promising that they give him a huge bump or anything like that, even though he has been that damn good defensively. It's just something that I wanted to mention. If we were doing the defensive upgrade video and I didn't mention Trevino, I would be failing at my job. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any guys in mind that should get some sort of defensive upgrade, somebody that I overlooked, somebody that I didn't think about, then hit me in the comment section below. I really appreciate all of you guys that are subbed to the channel, that have been watching the videos. It means the world to me, and I will definitely catch you guys on the next video or on Twitch. I'll leave the link down in the description below.